all right, here's my challenge to you all. I want you to write the most outrageous critique you can think of Louis in the comment section to see how much you can get him to justify at the beginning of next podcast.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is George from Compete Sports, the greatest LGS of all time. Hope you're doing great. I'm joined by Louis from KitchenTableTCG, the worst channel in the history of the world, and Mitch from Midtown Merchant, the greatest single store ever.
You're not the worst. You're the saltiest. You know that, right?
Are we still on about that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're not the worst. You're the saltiest. And you mispronounced Mitch, the epidemiologist of KitchenTableTCG here. That you misspelled that. He's the epidemiologist of this podcast.
That's so good. Mm-hmm. I bought this shirt at the mall the other day.
I do know some, actually. And I do work for a company that trains medical professionals. So that's in line.
This was the best $35 I've ever spent on a shirt.
Oh, you got ripped.
Yeah, I did.
$35?
It was worth it for the... I only bought it for this episode. I only bought it for this moment.
If you bought a real size, you could have sent it to me when you were done. I would wear the hell out of that.
Leave it in a comment section. Was it worth it for $35 for the joke?
Yeah, absolutely.
I had to find my wife's glasses. She apparently can't see anything.
She's nice, so it's perfect.
Completely blind. Welcome, guys. Welcome back to Metazoo be with you, our Flesh and Blood podcast. For those of you who want to complain about the name in the comment section, the name was derived during our Monarch live stream by the comment section.
Good.
So this is your fault, comment section.
I'm glad we can go over this for the 5th time because you won't listen to my advice and not read the comment section.
I love the comment section.
I can tell. This intro is perfect evidence of how much you love it. You having to justify the first thing you do every week of what was said last week is proof positive of how much you love the comment section.
All right. Well, this week we're going to be talking about Kickstarter.
The only one I love is Chad. Chad, you're the MVP.
Clark.
Don't care. Continue.
This week we're going to be talking about Kickstarter projects, and Mitch, you're muted because you weren't paying attention. We're going to talk about Kickstarter projects, and we're going to talk about the market's reaction to spoiler season. And then George has some secret Metazoo minute for us. I'm sure he doesn't know what it is yet.
I was really prepared that week with the quotes, including the one from you. Continue.
Yeah. So we're gonna let's start off talking about Kickstarter. I thought this would be a good topic. You liked it, George. Stop it. Me and George had a conversation the other day about Kickstarters and about like the alternative TCG world and board games, and so I think we want to chat about that a little bit, and then we'll hop into spoiler season and the market's reaction to it.
Yeah, and something we should say up the get-go, something that Louis should have said at the get-go, this is why he's not allowed to do the intros anymore, is we obviously don't film this 5 minutes before it airs because Louis has to edit it because he's bad at audio quality. So we filmed this early.
Stop. I have to edit because you bozos can't keep your mouth shut about distribution prices. That's why I have to edit it.
I have never once said distribution prices.
You have not, but you've had a very foul mouth, or you've been mean towards somebody, so we've had to edit that out.
That's true.
There's been many times where George has been like, "Hey, we should probably cut that."
There was a line that George crossed, and we didn't want to publicly share that line, so we'll cross the line.
Message me for it if you want it. So maybe I'm glad you called me a bozo. Maybe like the Hawaiian shirt thing, like the bozo gets flows through the Hawaiian shirt. It's like pineapples and bozos.
Last week you were calling us boobs.
All right. If pineapples and bozos isn't the name of the podcast this week, you're dead to me.
Okay.
Pineapples and bozos.
This is the total amount of work that goes into naming our podcast.
Yes.
Who is the pineapple? Pineapples? There's plural.
The one not in a Hawaiian shirt. So
I'll take it.
That's fine. We're the bozos. So, listen, I think Kickstarter is wild because there's about to be 80 trillion CCG projects on Kickstarter. We've already seen our first cluster in Final Redemption.
Yeah. Akora.
We've now seen a couple come in and immediately sell out for $1 trillion with a line out the door. And everybody's like, oh, my God, I got to get in.
Yeah.
And this is somewhat new for CCGs, I would say. There's been a couple of examples of CCGs, like Metazoo, obviously by far being the most famous and successful of Kickstarter. But something I would say before Louis can interrupt me and say my point is that they almost failed their Kickstarter.
Yeah.
They barely made it over the finish line. And this goes to, I think, biggest argument I have against Kickstarter, and I'm fine with it, got no beef with it, is that I think it's a really poor gauge of what the market will bear. The market is clearly very excited about Metazoo, and their Kickstarter almost failed. Like Flesh and Blood didn't have a Kickstarter, and it seems to be doing very well. 2,000 stores is a hell of an accomplishment. So
especially for grassroots and just getting it out there and word of mouth. I mean, establishing relationships.
I think Kickstarter is important because it lets people visualize their dreams.
It's marketing.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the way that I wish more companies would use Kickstarter is honestly a way around distribution.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
I actually think that is what they do. I mean, think of all the big board game stores. You don't think that they're doing it that way?
Well, let's get into board games in a minute, because I think board games are a very different animal.
Most of the board game ones utilize a fulfillment center for their Kickstarter.
Correct. They do.
So I have a long-standing history with Kickstarter. I would call myself a recovering Kickstarter
addict.
Yeah.
It's hard, man.
Oh, see you later, George. Have a good day. There was a time when I couldn't open the app of Kickstarter without purchasing something.
How'd that conversation go with your wife?
Exactly. So when I actually backed Metazoo, and my wife was like, "You've got to stop, Louis. You've got to. You have to stop." We had just had a child, and I was backing.
I never left the room, by the way.
I know.
Continue.
Yeah,
zombie side. That's a classic.
So my wife made me cancel all these Kickstarter backings that month, and Metazoo was one of them. Rip. Anyway,
2012.
Yeah. So what I think with Kickstarter, I think one of the things I don't like is when it's limited. That's to me
exclusive. You mean?
No. I like the exclusive. I love the exclusive when it's limited. You're seeing a lot of
things. 100 boxes or 500 boxes.
You're seeing what's the one right now that we're
D-Spirits.
D-Spirits,
the greatest game ever made.
Why limit it? Why limit it? That's just it. That creates this FOMO attitude, and that's what I don't like about some of the Kickstarter things.
I think it's dual purpose, though, right?
Of course.
Maybe the FOMO's there, but then it's like adding when you come out with a new product, and there's a wait list to get added into the product for the beta. I think a lot of it is for the FOMO. It's a marketing strategy, but secondly, I think actually it allows them to kind of scope essentially the size of the project. So let's say it's outrageously successful. It's more successful than they imagined. They don't have a team or an organization to handle the scale of that. And that's the other reason in which you would limit it too, is so that way you can handle the influx. So it does kind of a dual purpose thing. It creates hype and it limits it and it encourages buying before stuff sells out. On the flip side, I know I can only ship 500 bundles of this, so I'm not going to do 1,000. I can't handle that.
Partner. That's when
but now I'm losing part of my margins. I'm already losing 20% to Kickstarter. Now I got to lose another 5 to 10%.
Kickstarter takes 20%.
It's 16%.
Why can we all go buy stock in Kickstarter? Why do we buy trading cards still?
Why do you think GameFound was started? It's like a Kickstarter competitor, Indiegogo.
He's like, God, I'm going to sell everything and buy this new garbage coin in Kickstarter. And I have an idea.
It's 100% true. Alt investments 101. Sell my alt investment for another alt investment that is worse or better.
Listen, I think Kickstarter is I think is becoming the new thing, and I think it's very dangerous. And I want to encourage everybody to be careful.
It has been the new thing for a while, though. It hasn't.
Not in CCGs.
Well, you're right. But for the board game tabletop industry, Kickstarters are not
talking
new.
About board games because
this is tabletop. Board games. No, it's tabletop as a whole, and I said COVID once. But it's an umbrella, right?
I mean, the board game market absolutely collapsed on itself in the early 2000s because of Kickstarter. In law school, every single dollar of my spending money came from buying board games on Kickstarter and selling them for just prices that made absolutely no sense once they were delivered to me.
Was Kickstarter around in the early 2000s?
George isn't that old.
That's what he just said.
Oh,
it was 2010.
That's
like,
not
maybe
the early 2000s.
Early 2000s, like 20, like 2001, like first 5 years.
It's like, what?
I mean, in theory, let's keep it real. Anything
probably,
sub like the first century is probably
when
early
did I go to law
2000s.
school? I went to
Give
law
us your
school.
fingers. Give us your fingers. Research it. I would do it, but it's funnier when you do it.
01, 05. I went there in 2009. So for 2009, 2010.
That makes more sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
and like, listen,
technically it's early 2000.
I got all my spending money from flipping board games that I would buy on Kickstarter and then sell for just like prices that made no sense. No sense. Like, this used to be $1 trillion, and like it's nothing. It adds nothing to the game.
That's not true.
It adds very little to the game. It's now like $4.99 and a box of Monarch Unlimited.
I have backed so many Zombicide games.
Of course,
I did the same thing. I would back things, and then by the time they got to me, I'd be like, I don't actually want this anymore. Nope. But it's also worth 8 times.
But the FOMO is there.
It's also worth 8 times what I paid for.
Like, listen, like, I think like the important part of that is like the industry collapsed upon itself, and Asmodee swooped in and bought up the ashes.
Yeah,
that is a warning sign for CCGs,
right?
Like, and I will say, like, no disrespect to anybody who's all in on D-Spirits. I got nothing but love for the D-Spirit community.
Because I might support it someday.
Sure. Like, listen, if my players wanted to play it, I'd carry it.
Sure.
But like, that does not seem to be a well understood project. Like, my 2 favorite parts about it are that they asked the guy, can you make the dogs louder? Or that they asked the guy who
just mute
did
Louis.
The original Charizard to do the art. He said no. And they respond to that by putting a picture of the old Charizard up and saying he might do it one day once we deliver boxes.
He's been contacted.
I would like everybody to know that I'm going to design a CCG. I asked Kanye West to do the artwork. He said no, but every image will be of Donda. So it's going to be amazing.
A black frame.
So the other thing is just like, he keeps adding boxes. So like, now nobody knows how limited this really is. Like, he keeps like saying this range of how many boxes there are.
And this is where I feel
that's where you're saying, Louis,
Mitch,
like, that's not cool.
I think I see what you're saying. It has to, you can't scale it up to 1 billion boxes and now there's whatever. But like, I love how, and this is probably not fair to compare a company like whatever D-Spirits is with Zombicide, right? Because they have many successful Kickstarters. But like, I loved how Zombicide did it, where it's like, the bigger the project you got, the more crap you got. Like, if it hit $1 million, you got this there's
rewards,
this miniature. And like, I loved the stretch goals. That made me so addicted. It was unbelievable.
I hate stretch goals when they're like, there's a Kickstarter edition, and nothing against Kickstarter editions, but I prefer like I know, don't look at me, I have Kickstarter edition stuff too. Kickstarter Chaos Crystal right here. I think the thing that I'm kind of mentioning though is that there's exclusivity, right? So what's in a first edition Cryptid Nation box is the exact same for the most part, minus some like tweaks as a Kickstarter edition box. Like, there's no difference. I didn't get like more out of this box than that box. That's what I'm saying I don't like. It's okay to have a Kickstarter edition. It's the fact that this box is exclusive and it has unique things that the new version doesn't. And I think it's cool to be the first one on the train. I like how there were medals that were given out. Like, that is great. I think that's cool. Like, to give exclusivity to those who backed the project early. More of what I'm saying though is like, there's miniatures in this box that doesn't exist for the core set because you didn't back the Kickstarter version, which then creates this like hyperinflation of specific boxes like you're talking about, George.
See, I think that's fine for board games. I agree with you. I don't want that in TCGs or collectible card games. I think for board games, like,
I would have no problem if there was alt art in every Kickstarter box.
That's different. I'm talking about there's this let's just throw it in Fab World. I can get this exclusive legendary that nobody else can get if I back this Kickstarter, and they will never reprint that legendary again.
That will not.
That's what I'm talking about. Additionally, no, it would be a pain in the ass.
I'm not as convinced of that as you guys are. I think it all depends. I mean, like, what if it was an unplayable card?
Well, that's different. I'm talking about like this exclusive high rate. Okay, you get a sample heart.
I'm like, we get the Aoki heart. You get the Aoki heart if you kickstart a box.
You just want to devalue the Aoki heart, but it's fine.
I want one. I actually just want Aoki. This is like the hard part. Like I know.
You just want that one.
So I like see. Like I don't understand why. I think the alternate art or maybe some sort of foiling. Maybe
That'd be great.
Maybe you have cold foil. You know, some cold foil that you can only get. I do not. I want to start off this because I know the comment section is going to get there before we do. I do not want Flesh and Blood to do a Kickstarter. I do not think.
I completely disagree.
I do not think that is.
What would you kickstart on Flesh and Blood?
I do not think that is in the model for Flesh and Blood. I
completely disagree.
What do you need to kickstart for Fab TCG?
Here's where I think companies should turn to Kickstarter.
Marketing. Yep.
No, maybe
Simon does it.
Dress like George. I wish you could think like George. I'm sure you do too.
That's the start of the video.
I think like Kickstarter is a good way to gauge market interest and to work around the distribution channels. Because like you guys think Kickstarter's expensive. Distribution's a lot more than 20% is how I'll phrase it lovingly in a lot of cases.
Yeah, right. But you're still going to do distribution though.
No idea. But I believe I can say this. There were leaked documents from Magic the Gathering a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I will say that like distribution took more than 20% of those, I believe. So listen, like I think that you can gauge interest, you can keep a larger cut of the money, and you can make sure products go to those who actually want to take the risk with you. I think those are all good things.
Why do we need that though for Fab? Like, why do they need to sample or test something out?
That is how you can get more money into James White's hands and less money into distributors' hands who play nothing but games with boxes. In my opinion, I'm not saying that happens or not. I'm just saying what I've heard from other people.
You were telling me that by going through Kickstarter for every single booster box release, you'd be more advantageous for that.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that for first edition and things like that, having it so that people have easy access to retail priced boxes is, in my opinion, a good thing.
Yeah. So why wouldn't you just sell direct off the site then?
More of the money.
Well, I don't want this to happen. Let me play on George's side for a second. I think that the marketing strategy of that is fantastic. Like I almost would guarantee you that Metazoo does another Kickstarter and that it will be one of the most successful Kickstarters.
I will tell you right now, if Mike does a Kickstarter today, I'm putting in 6 figures.
Yeah, it will be.
No cap.
It will be one of the most
market tag it. 6 figures are going into that from Compete Sport. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
I totally believe you. Like I think I think for a game like Metazoo that is an IP and a brand and trying to reach 1 million people tomorrow, right? Like trying to do that. The Kickstarter gets you so much marketing. It is free advertising, like wrapped into whatever.
I mean, that's what you're paying for is for that platform.
Let's go back to Fab. Like if they said Kingdoms, the set after Tales, obviously, is going to be kickstarted, and we need to know your numbers now because it's not coming out for 6 months or 9 months or whatever.
Yeah,
because there's going to be a supplemental set in between. You can order as many boxes as you want, and we're going to print it. We're going to print to demand. That number of first edition boxes are $96.
Okay.
And stores can order it at distribution costs.
Yeah. So that's the key.
Why do we need Kickstarter though? Like, why can't you just use the Fab TCG site? Say everybody buy direct, put in your orders here.
Wider reach.
Yeah, the reach there.
You're right.
You go to fleshandblood.com and use his website probably if you wanted to do that. I don't know. But like,
I think kind of what I'm arguing though is, if you're going to go direct, which is essentially what you're saying, then just go direct. Fab TCG is a large enough IP at this point.
I don't know about that.
Like, I do see your argument though, because CMON, which is a huge organization, right, or part of a huge conglomerate.
CMON is Cool Mini or Not. For those of you who do not know, it's Cool Mini or Not. That's who does Zombicide.
Yeah, they all the time. They do multiple. They do tons of different Kickstarter games. I personally don't like it. I'm like, just sell the game from your site. But they use Kickstarter to gain hype, to build hype for the game. The same thing happened with Frosthaven and Gloomhaven.
It's because Kickstarter has, listen, like James White said, there's 200,000 players on flesh
You're
and blood.
talking millions.
I'm talking like probably tens of millions.
Yeah.
Oh, I would think exponentially more than that.
And
I mean,
it's all
like,
curated with algorithms too, which help.
Sure.
I mean, like,
Yeah,
I think, like, listen, like, and I mean this, like, this is why, like, I think for Mike in particular, I'd recommend another Kickstarter. It's because, like, listen, like, if you want to compete with Magic the Gathering and Pokemon, this is how you do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
the reach is far greater.
You don't go in and say, I want 2,000 stores or 3,000 stores. You need tens of thousands of stores. Right. And so, like, how do you do that? You do it by doing enormous print runs.
Yep.
Enormous print runs. And not 50,000.
And you cover risk by having money up front.
Enormous. And that costs you a ton of money. And now you're also guaranteed your profit. You're guaranteed your profit.
Right.
I want to highlight, because I think, George, you're saying this without saying it. You would have a tier that is for stores.
Yeah.
That you still had to provide that you're a brick and mortar store with a retail thing. And other Kickstarters do this. I've seen other Kickstarters do this.
Yep.
And you get boxes at a discounted rate because you're a store. And then you are allowed to continue to resell those boxes on the secondary market the way that you're supposed to.
I actually used to consult for a board game company that was bought out. I was part of the consulting team that was helping with the transition. And like, listen, like, one of their big shifts was like, how do I go from a Kickstarter model to a distribution model? And like, they kept coming back to me like, we just make a lot less money. I'm like, you have 18 new hands in the pie.
You're selling more boxes, but you're getting less out of the.
You're not even selling more boxes. Like,
okay. So why is it advantageous at that point?
That was a question they came back to me at, and I was like, I'm not the one who told you to sell the company, boo-boo. Like, you called me in here to help you transition from selling the company.
Right.
You didn't ask me, should I sell the company?
Right. You're already here, and that's why I'm here. So,
like, I wasn't hired by you guys. I was hired by the company that bought you.
I think that there's a lot there. I think one thing, George, like, Kickstarter takes 16 to 20%, whatever it is, and then you still have to get the distribution on the back end. So you still have to, but it's probably more of like an Amazon fulfillment center or something like that, more than
they take less out of it because they're not building relationships. They're just shipping products.
I think it's still probably advantageous. You're probably ruffling a lot of feathers, and that's
good.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
Like,
there's competition.
Listen, like, this model that we're in, and like, this model that we're in makes absolutely no sense, and like, I love it because everybody knows it.
Yeah, it made sense in 1960, 1990.
Right. You're talking the distribution model, correct? Not
I talked to my WotC rep, and he's like, and he'll tell me this. He's like, I hear more complaints about distribution than everything else combined. I'm like, of course, of course. Like, what else am I going to complain about?
Right.
Like,
like, that's where the mess is.
Well, and to be honest, a lot of the distribution is also working with how many organizations? It's the middleman on both sides.
Distributors either, right? Like, this is why they're starting the new tactic of, I will bundle for you stores,
right?
Because if they don't bundle, they're stuck with garbage. Now I'm stuck with garbage,
right?
I want you to know, last time I mentioned my Zendikar Rising problem, one of your viewers, Louis, was very kind to reach out to me and offered to buy them at $30 below my cost. I just want to say to that guy, I will never respond to your email. I will never sell at that price. But thank you.
Which is why you're still holding onto the boxes and will forever hold them.
My wife will bury me with those, and like, she will probably, like, she already has to get a fat guy casket. She'll have to get like an extra fat guy casket to carry all those stupid boxes. But I will never sell them for that price.
Instead of burying you with dirt, you just throw magic cards on top.
What a dumpster fire of a set. Good Lord.
I think all the Kickstarter fears that people have are more based on, like, will the company actually provide the thing if I back it? And that's never concerned me. Whenever I was backing things on Kickstarter, I was always pretty confident in it.
That's always concerned me. But like, listen, like, so it
doesn't concern me for organizations that are reputable.
Right.
I have concerns about Kickstarter, which is mainly like, is what happened in the board game industry in the, I'm sorry, Louis, early 2010s going to happen to the CCG market?
I mean, the difference for you is like you were 20 to 30. The difference for me is I was
in diapers, basically.
I was 10 or I was 18.
You were like, I was like,
there's a difference there. There's a
I
difference.
guess it could happen today too.
When you're ancient like you, those dates are the same. But for those of us who graduated high school in 2010, it's a little different.
God.
My babies. I mean, like, you know, I think that like if like that is my number one fear right now for the CCG industry by a mile, is that like there's just all this weird money pumping into weird things.
That's everything right now, though.
D-Spirits is just like it sells out instantly.
Yeah,
right.
It sold out like in a second.
Right.
And it's like, listen,
that's why it shouldn't sell out.
Like, do you think people are buying D-Spirit to play D-Spirit?
No, they're buying as an alt investment.
So I think D-Spirits looks appealing if you have kids. Like if I had like
That's
a 10-year-old, if I had a 10-year-old kid, I'd probably back the heck out of D-Spirits. It does not seem like it's marketed to me, a 29-year-old adult.
So here's what's weird. Like, I don't mind the art on it. Like, I don't like maybe like I'm picking on D-Spirit because it's the one that's hot right now. Let me be very clear here. Like, there's no difference between that and the game that's like in Final Redemption to me. Like,
sure.
The risk
I had people tell me to back Final Redemption because it was the next big Kickstarter.
It's the next
thing.
whatever you want to call it.
I've had multiple people, hey, are you backing Final Redemption? Like, are you getting in on the hype? Like, we don't want you to miss on the FOMO, Mitch, because we know you missed Metazoo FOMO.
I was not criticizing the artwork of D-Spirits. I just want to highlight that. I was saying
fine.
that the gameplay,
it's more oriented towards kids.
It's more oriented towards kids. It's not like
I got no problem with D-Spirits. So like, I mean, like the point is that like if you have like you were going to have, I would suspect 10, maybe 12 major Kickstarters for CCGs by the end of the year is my gut.
Well, we're doing one, right?
Yeah. This is going to be called Help George out of this My Hero Academia mess he got himself in because he's getting 1 trillion boxes and he refused to set a release date.
Sounds like Digimon.
We should start a game called May the Zoo Be With You.
Sure. Like, and here's what I'll tell you. If we said limited to 5,000 boxes, we sell 5,000 boxes in about 10 minutes.
Like we would. Right, by the world famous George Went.
You could just have a bunch of cards that are like interrupt. You could have the George deck, and it's just like interrupt. And then the
I have something to say.
Like,
interrupt.
The Mitch was like
good
COVID.
Point. Great
Mitch
point.
is like Mitch is COVID, and Louis is
you're dead.
Bad point. Everything can work.
I love rainbows and unicorns.
Somebody make this game for us. We'll help you.
We'll back it.
We'll help you. Yeah, design it for us.
Kickstarter.
I'm not sure how, but like
that's actually there are people who build games, and you just say, "Hey, I built this cool game, and I'm selling it."
And I mean, like, and that is my fear.
That's Stonemeyer.
And that is
Stonemeyer has different game designers and artists come in, and like, they back it.
That is exactly my fear. Is that like it is now very easy and cheap to print out a CCG, at least the idea of a CCG. And like, I think like, you know, listen, like, I think the reality of that is a lot harder than people realize. Print time is at a premium. Paper is taking 6 to 9 months to get to people, and it's at a premium. Distribution is a mess. It takes forever to get from either Europe, United States. Well, the realities of doing a game are far harder than the sketch work of doing one that you need to do for Kickstarter. And that's my fear.
Okay. So I guess my question is, I'm hearing, hey, don't back or like be careful of Kickstarter. But then at the same time, you're like, Metazoo, Fab, do a Kickstarter. I'd love to back it. Yep. So like as a consultant, George, and you're free insight here, like when do I do a Kickstarter and why would I do a Kickstarter as a CCG?
I think like I would say for a new game, you would need to do a Kickstarter if you need the resources, if you need the capital.
You can print X number of boxes based on demand. Like, if it's successful.
Assad printed like 2 boxes of alpha because Assad could print 2 boxes of alpha.
Sure.
Like that's a tough way to grow a game. Like very, 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 very big credit to Assad for doing it that way. Like that is going all in. And good for him. It seems to have worked. Like, Louis and I basically sold our bundle. We're getting a few more in. I mean, like it's done. He's designed a good game that people desire.
Right.
It's far easier, and I would have recommended this to him, to do a Kickstarter. Sell your game.
Yeah.
So I think if you can't afford to do it that way. But also, like, Assad had a good game design that he spent time doing. He had art already done. He had an idea of who was going to be his printer. He did a lot of steps to get to that point.
Right.
He was ready for prime time.
Right.
Where I think Fab and Metazoo should consider a Kickstarter is very different. It has nothing to do with, I need your money to print boxes. I don't know their financials. I am assuming both James White and Metazoo Mike can afford to print the next set of boxes without a lot of headache. At least I hope so.
Yeah, let's hope so.
If not, please DM me so I can sell everything. But where they can use Kickstarter is much more of a gauge of interest,
right,
and a way to keep more of the profits in their hands.
And promotion.
And I mean this. This is where I don't think Fab will do it, and I think Metazoo will. Fab is determined that they're going to grow the game basically a few LGSs at a time.
Yep.
Right. Slow and low.
They're at 2,000. I don't think they want to be at 5,000 by the end of the year. That would not spark joy in James Whitehead, in my opinion. I have no idea.
I think it'd be too fast for them to scale up to handle 5,000 stores.
Right.
They learned going from 0 to 2,000
and said, "Hey, Mike, I can get you into 20,000 stores by the end of September." We're now filming this on September 1st. He'd be like, "Okay, what do I need to do? I'm in.
Right.
Magic, I'm coming for you, baby." And that's just a very different growth strategy, right? There's different bets in the marketplace.
Yeah, there's pros and cons to both of those issues.
Absolutely.
We're not saying that one is better or worse.
No.
There's pros and cons to both.
But this is where I think you could easily, this is where I think you should see another Metazoo Kickstarter. Make it so it's available to stores and print the daylights. You need large print runs.
Print to the demand.
Yeah.
And you're able to cover the risk because people are paying up front. They're essentially paying up front for that demand.
And
so I want to point out one other thing here is the history of Kickstarter also allows us to be completely transcend. I've backed so many Kickstarters that said, "Hey, we're going to fulfill in December," and it doesn't fulfill for another year.
6 months.
It's an entire year later, and nobody complains. Nobody's upset.
People
about
complain, but it's expected.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, it's just
Nobody
part of
cares.
what you expect.
As long as you get your game, you're happy.
And they said, "I'll ship it to you in 18 months."
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's an advantage for some of these companies. Now, if you're LSS, if you're Metazoo, you probably already have a kind of core group of people who are relying on the boxes, so that's probably not acceptable. But a new game that's coming along, or a game like Genesis that's getting traction, I think there's acceptable means of separation from expected delivery day and actual delivery day.
Is there a reason why Genesis hasn't done a Kickstarter yet?
I think they should. I think out of the three of them, that one makes the most sense.
What's your hesitation there, George? Too big, too fast?
I mean, this is the wrong time to do a Genesis Kickstarter, in my opinion.
Why?
The game has to be played in person. You need this game. This is of all the games, this is the one that cannot be played via webcam.
You can play via TTS though.
Yeah, but that doesn't sell boxes.
That doesn't help me.
I get it. Yeah.
So I think the only argument to that, George, is that I think that out of all three of the games that we're talking about right now, Genesis is the one that is most assigned to a board game that could be played with you and your friends without being a full-on
we talked about that. It feels like a miniature game without being a miniature game.
And I think
miniature tactical game.
I would have an easier time inviting my friends over to say, "Hey, let's play some board games. Hey, I want to try out this new game at Genesis. It's also a TCG, but it plays wider than that." And I think that would be an easier sell than "Hey, let's play another game that's like Magic the Gathering."
Right.
So I would buy Genesis based on it feeling like a board game, and that's important, I think, for Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, at a bare minimum, you could price a larger set. You could also throw in exclusive promos and stuff that
So that will be and that's funny. I owe Assad a phone call. This will be the big problem that he's going to have, is that he has to start showing some more love to the collectors.
Yeah,
you got to do it, boss. This is what James White understood better than anything.
Yep.
The heart really, really, really helped Flesh and Blood grow.
For sure.
And like, it's funny, like we all missed it for months. Like when Alpha first came out, nobody cared about the heart. Nobody cared. It was worthless. It was one of the least valuable cards, at least from what I could tell, because it was unplayable. Like I think James White understood that will eventually lead to mega sales. Like this uber rare card. Now you see Magic trying to copy that, but in classic Magic way, they're messing it up because they're making it like an uber powerful card.
Right.
Well, that wasn't the point, idiots. The point is that it's super collectible and not super playable. Yeah. And also, like, Flesh and Blood has unlimited boxes, so now a heart is roughly $15. Is that right, Louis, give or take?
I think it's down to $170.
Yeah.
George prophesized this. He's like, if we just print an infinite number of boxes, legendaries will be $50 to $60.
It's great.
I think he said 20, but we're getting there. It'll be next week.
It'll be there in a few weeks.
Scabskin leathers will be $20.
We'll talk about this in a minute. We'll talk about this in a minute when we get to the next segment. I know unlimited legendaries are just cratering. Like Tectonic Plating now is what, $15? Is that right, Louis? Is that right? Just want to make sure I'm right.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Okay, good. Okay. Oh wait, never mind. What was I saying? So they need to have a chase card, and that's what Flesh and Blood understood. That's what Flesh and Blood understood.
Leave your Flesh and Blood comments in the comments section.
Like a Flesh and Blood podcast.
A Flesh and Blood.
I would love to see a Flesh and Blood Kickstarter for first edition for next box. I think that'd be awesome. I think it'd be fascinating, and I think we'd finally see MSRP for first edition.
It's an interesting point. I think it'd be really cool to see the way that the game grows as a result of something like that because of the free marketing. I mean,
can you imagine if they did that? Every LGS would hop on. Every LGS would hop on. I mean,
the more that you talk about, the more that I want it. I definitely think Metazoo does it for sure.
Well, Metazoo's going to do it, and like what'll be fascinating is I wonder if Metazoo doing it will actually force Flesh and Blood to do it.
I don't know about that.
I know because there's no competition between them. Because
there's no competition.
Games.
Yeah,
I will just say this:
these two games can coexist.
It'd be advantageous. I mean, maybe even the supplementary set. Would a supplementary or a full set be better?
Full.
PvE. Do it as PvE. Make
that,
it PvE.
That would actually
James White. Give it to me, baby.
Cares about. That's
I actually think PvE would be more advantageous. You would have a larger audience that would be interested in that. Look how many dungeon crawlers are right now.
Oh my God.
The CCG PvE? I haven't heard of one.
It doesn't have to be CCG PvE.
World of Warcraft. People love it. The rest of the game sucked, but people loved the PvE part of it.
It could just be a standard set of cards that just comes with PvE, is my thought. And you have like maybe an exclusive promo that you can get.
George, I can't wait for you to be wrong about PvE. I can't wait. I cannot wait for you to be wrong about the PvE. I can't wait for the people. Like, I can't wait for it. I'm going to do a whole week-long episode. It's going to be whatever 24 hours times 7 days. It's going to be an entire stream.
Your math is amazing.
Of me just talking about how wrong you were about PvE and how right James White was.
Yeah, that's why he's done it, right? Me and James White are on the same team on this one. You know that, right?
Right now you are. He'll be Team Louis pretty soon. Yep. Moving on.
You get hit yourself in the head and your dogs were barking. You're doing great, boss. You're doing great. Like you just bopped yourself in the nose while your dogs were yelling at you about how wrong you were. And yeah, that's it. That's all I got to say. You're doing great. PvE.
All right, Kickstarter. I think I'm all in. I think both of them should do it.
I converted them. A convert.
I think that you got to be careful, but we're trying to say you got to be careful about new games. Don't overcommit yourself to new games because there's going to be a billion of them.
And like, listen, like if you read D-Spirits and go, that's my jams, I am thrilled for you.
Yeah.
Buy the daylights out of it. If you read Final Redemption and you're like, that's my jams, awesome. Buy the daylights out of it. What I'm trying to warn you is that I do think that, like people look at Metazoo like, oh my God, every Kickstarter box is going to be free tendies. There's a lot more Argent Sagas than there are Metazoos. I got in, what's that stupid game, Gate Ruler?
Yeah, people want us to talk about Gate Ruler. Do you guys see that?
So I bought Gate Ruler everybody's like, George, you missed out on Gate Ruler. You got to carry second edition. So I bought a master case of Gate Ruler. I still have a master case of Gate Ruler. I have sold 0 boxes.
Yeah.
I have had 0 people ask me about Gate Ruler.
I might buy that from you. I want to try that out.
Send me your address. I'll send you a box for free. Beautiful.
You have a lot of my addresses.
I have like 1,000 of them. I can like send it to my store, send it to my home, send it to my booze house. Wait, was this public? So like, it's like, listen, I just like, there's just a lot of games. There's a lot of games.
I agree.
And like, just make sure you're not biting off more than you can chew.
You're talking to Louis when you're saying this, right?
I mean, I can carry everything. Everything will win. Everything. There's no competition.
I can hardly wait for you to. I can hardly wait for your Akora box opening.
Japanese market.
I did not back Akora.
The people's market.
I didn't back Akora.
Did you back Akora, George?
No.
Yeah. I don't have time for Kickstarter.
My Kickstarter phase is over.
Yeah, me too. Until Metazoo.
I just backed the most recent one. That was the Andrew Navarro one.
Whatever I don't know who that is. Andrew
Navarro, he was a former FFG head of studio. Then he went over to who created Cloudspire.
Oh, is this what's it called?
That card game that Team Covenant was playing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I did back that one. I did do that
Earthborn? Earthborn Rangers.
Earthborn. That one looks cool. That's not a TCG.
It does look really cool. It's not a TCG. Yeah. It is it's a card game. It's all cards.
It's a board game.
There's no board to play on.
Okay.
It's all card games.
It's not a TCG. Anyway,
it's not a collectible card game.
The next game I'm curious, Keyforge.
It's just a CG.
Let's move on to the market's reaction of Tales of Aria spoiler season.
Yeah, I know Louis was very worried that the price of all legendaries would be $15, and unfortunately, his dreams become a reality. Tectonic Planing is now $15, $20. Is that right, Louis?
Look, like, why are we talking about Tectonic Plating? Is that one that's moved this? I haven't done my WTR update yet.
Tectonic Plating got bought out this morning.
I noticed a bunch of Crucible Guardian cards being bought out.
It got bought out this morning.
I mean, why hasn't this been happening sooner? Also, why isn't Ranger stuff going like crazy right now?
Can we talk about this? Is my main point that I want to talk about. Why are we buying out?
Tectonic Planing is now $185 as a low. It was like $70 last week.
Okay, so like the guy that bought the 70 that were on the market for $40, what's the game plan there?
I will once again restate: if you try to buy out Unlimited, in my view, you're a jackass. Like, I'm not saying you're a terrible human being,
but you are.
Well, I didn't say you're a terrible human being. If you play, like, I have no problem with people buying out first edition. God bless, Godspeed. Yeah. If you try to buy out and artificially inflate the price of Unlimited,
do you guys think this is what happened with the Eye and the Heart?
Yeah.
That somebody bought them all out early on and they just kept them high?
Yeah. Were people buying them to spec on, and now somebody has given up, or a group of people has given up, and now no one's buying them because there was no actual.
A very famous YouTuber kept saying during the Welcome to Wraith Unlimited era that we should be very careful because they might never print it again.
Who are you? Oh, okay.
Pretty.
And like, this was the number one question I got asked, and I was like, "There's no way LSS is that silly." Like,
they've literally printed this into the ground.
Yeah, like Unlimited. There's no way they're going to do one print run of Welcome to Wraith Unlimited. Mm-hmm. Like, this is like the game would die.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you literally can't bring in new players if you make unlimited print runs, one print run. And also, it's not unlimited.
Yeah. That's just,
I remember people like, "Oh my God, George, how many are you buying?" I'm like, "As many as I can sell." Like, this is silly. I think when people realize that perhaps that information was optimistic for his investments, the price cratered.
I don't know that I would say that's optimistic for his investments. I feel like it would probably be more like he wants the demographic that's buying. I mean, when I was buying cases of Magic the Gathering, I was buying it with the idea that over time they would stop being sold and they go up, and that's how a Magic the Gathering box works. I don't know that you can keep Unlimited in print forever, but I don't think that buying Well, I think you should. I've said this since day one. Just don't say that it's OOP. Just don't say it's out of print, and just in 5 years be like, oh, we got some printer time. Here's another print run of WTR because the market's at $150 box.
Something I think LSS should maybe take more seriously is like, listen, this last Crucible print run was enormous. While we were talking, I just got another text from a distributor saying, hey, I can get you even more boxes. They have now upped what they can get me 3 times in 72 hours.
That's because people are not taking them.
I think people aren't taking because they're saving for Tails.
Yeah, Tails is too soon. I think the hard thing is Tails is just around the corner. And if you could spend the same amount of money on Tails, first edition, or Crew Unlimited,
I'm going to put on my 1%er hat here. If you can't afford to take Crucible Unlimited and you don't have a store that's gonna buy Crucible Unlimited in the next 3 weeks, you maybe need to do some soul searching about your LGS.
George, I can't take 100 boxes of Crew Unlimited because
don't have
people won't buy enough singles. I'm just saying people aren't going to buy all those singles.
The
within 3 weeks.
Expected value of Crew Unlimited right now is like $150 a box.
So you're telling me to go take more, Louis, to make it like $100 a box?
The question is, do you have time to open that many boxes? That's the question.
Exactly.
Well, that's not my fault. Hire somebody.
That's why you're not a store. Like a store can sell to like it takes you more time to open a box than it does for me to say, "Thank you for your purchase, ma'am. Have a great day."
I mean, you're right. I can do like 2 cases in an hour right now.
Yeah, I can do like 2 cases in a minute.
My point.
So
like again, like if you have an LGS and you can't sell Crucible Unlimited right now,
you shouldn't be picking up Tails, is what you're saying.
Maybe you need to focus on growing your player base. Nothing but love. Call me. I'll help you. Call Joey.
Yeah, I was going to say call Joey.
Go, Joey, go.
I had a great conversation with Joey this week.
But like, call me. I'll help you. But like, if you literally can't, if you're having a tough time selling out of Crucible Unlimited, what's your player base looking like?
Yeah.
Like, let me be clear. Like, that's not true for many stores, in my opinion. I just think they printed a lot of boxes, which is good.
Yeah.
That's great. Like, again, like people need.
I just want to be able to call. I want to call my distributor and say, "Hey, can I get some of this box?" And they say, "Yeah."
You can get a ton of Crucible Unlimited right now.
I know. I'm just saying, like,
Go ahead.
I'm just saying, like, that's what I've been dreaming for since I started supporting Fab as a single store. Hey, can I get X box? They're like, yeah, I have X number of boxes I can give you today. That sounds great. Thank you, sir.
What I have dreamed of is Monarch being 1K.
So let's get back to the market and buying out, because we are not talking about what we said we were going to talk about. I want to talk about what card was it this week? It was not Greater Fists. No, this one's even worse. Stamp Authority. Okay, Stamp Authority.
What this card is.
I know that's because you don't play the game. Get some players in your store, and
my players know what it is.
So Stamp Authority is Crucible Unlimited.
I actually don't have any.
The first edition is $35. The unlimited one was selling for $45 this week. Okay, so you have an inversion because people are speculating that Guardian is going to be in the next set. The card's really good. It interacts with your pitch zone, whatever. It's an aura. It's really good. So the fact that people are buying up Unlimited all the way to the first edition price is absolutely baffling to me. Like, it's absolutely baffling.
Like, listen, like investors are not with Fab right now. Like, that's like, I mean, like, there's not a ton of money in the collectible side of Flesh and Blood right now.
Not like it used to be.
Okay, so you're saying that makes an unlimited class specific majestic that you pull 6 majestics in a box, a $35 card.
No, I'm saying that's why the first edition price and the unlimited price are very close.
I'm saying that if you're investing based on speculation of these cards from this set, you should not be spending that kind of money on majestic foils from Unlimited.
Keep in mind, like, I'm getting my boxes today of Crucible Unlimited. Like, that price could crater.
Right. That's why I'm saying, why are we buying? Why are we spending $45 on this? Exactly what I'm saying.
Like, because people are silly.
Yeah, they are. I'm glad that you agree with something.
I agree with everything when you're right. Very rarely. I agree with that shirt. I agree with that shirt more than anything else you've said so far today.
So help the investors out. Help the collectors out. You see a Tales of Aria spoiler What should your gut reaction
Listen,
be?
I think if you're really, and I will say this, for most of the whales that I interact with, which I think is probably 70% of the whales, frankly.
Can you tell them to start buying stuff again?
They already have everything they need.
Only Monarch. I don't know if many whales are like, oh my God, this new hero came out. I need to go get the cold foil version of tectonic plating.
Yeah.
Hey, they already have it. Like I have 8, 9. Like I have what I want. Like this does not affect what I didn't buy any. I'm not selling any.
Yeah.
I'm fine. And most whales are in the same position. Not that I'm a whale like Louis. So like it is. I don't think like this. What you're like the action that you're seeing in the cards isn't from the whales. Like I'd be stunned if tectonic plating went up or down a considerable amount this week. Frankly, maybe 10%, maybe 15%.
Is Cold One gone up?
I have no idea. I don't think so.
Has what gone up?
Skullbone or any Ranger cards?
Oh, Skullbone Crosshair up sold for 1,200 this week.
Yeah, I mean like.
So like
this won't affect the cold foil market for especially for
no, I'm talking about unlimited market. I'm sorry. I'm not seeing cold foils.
There was so much arcane that entered the market last week. So much
I
arcane.
got 400 plus boxes last week.
So much arcane entered the market last week that I don't think it mattered because everyone was opening boxes this past week. So like
that explains the Fab group. The marketplace was just filled with it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I think if you're a player, I would caution you on like being like, oh my gosh, there's a new hero, a new Ranger hero. I have to buy up all the cards, like 3 of a kind. Like
I keep asking people, like, should I spec?
Nationals coming up, so they need cards now.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
I keep asking people to spec. Like they're like, what should I be specking on?
If you're doing Crucible, don't spec on Unlimited. Don't be a jackass.
I know, but people are doing it. Is all I'm saying.
I will not give you advice if you're specking on Unlimited. I hope you fail. Yeah. I do. I hope you fail with every fiber of my being. Leave those markets alone and let the players buy the cards they need to build their decks.
And as a player, remember that there's more product coming. Like I can't stress
I will
this
say
enough.
this: like I got 400 boxes of Arcane last week, roughly. I can get hundreds of boxes of Wraith today. If I needed it. Yeah. I'm getting hundreds of boxes of Crucible Unlimited this week. I mean, like these, like if Tectonic Plating is now a $200 card, it will probably make sense for people to start cracking Wraith again.
Yeah.
Okay. That price will go down.
Right.
Like,
it's just
this is what a healthy market looks like.
Correct.
Like this is what a healthy unlimited market looks like. I think there's some things that are unhealthy about it. We've talked about those the last couple of weeks, but like this is the healthy side of that market. So like if you don't want to pay $20,000 for your Tectonic Plating, wait a week. People will open Wraith, or frankly, go buy Wraith. Wraith boxes on Channel Firebar right now, I think, are like $10 plus a case of Monarch Unlimited. So, like, you know,
Monarch first, you mean?
I still don't think we're healthy.
Why?
What do you not think is healthy?
The EV is completely inverted.
What's the EV right now for WTR and ARC?
That's called healthy. That's good.
Like, that one's probably more accurate. That's like $55, $60 a box. More. The problem is the case. The case is like $80 a box. I mean, you're barely break even. Yeah, you barely break. I mean, that's probably more healthy. That's
pretty healthy if you're buying out.
So Cruise came out like a day ago.
Cruise was underprinted, high demand.
That's fair. I'm wrong.
After this next set, it should probably go down to 100.
I'm wrong.
I know.
All right, I'm wrong.
I'm used to it.
That needs to be the start.
It's the first time you admitted it. So, like, I think, you know, like, this is the healthiest the unlimited market's been for singles. I think for boxes, it's a different discussion. For singles, I think it's very healthy.
Yep.
Would you say the box price is what's driving singles down because more people are buying boxes, opening them and flipping them?
No, I mean, like, I think that's part of it. I think, like, listen, like, Crucible Unlimited, like, I was dead wrong about this. Crucible Unlimited was far more needed than I thought it was.
Oh, yeah.
Who said that?
I think both of us said it.
Who was that said that Crucible was a player's set and that players needed the cards?
I said it was a player set. You said it was a collector set.
That's true,
that's
actually.
Not accurate.
That is
we need to go back.
Accurate.
Roll the tape back.
George did say it was a player set, which is why he doesn't like to collect it.
Oh, well, I still
one more time for people in the back, Mick.
I still think that the true
I still think it's a player set.
I still think that the true collectors are the players.
I will also say, well, if you're Louis,
this is your
Mr.
this is your unicorn and rainbow of collecting. You're all everything to me. I love all of you. You collect and play every game underneath my rainbow. Oh, you guys are all the same.
He's a romantic. He's a romantic. It's fine.
Man,
Let him do his thing.
To be having fun. Like
I can.
He just wants us all to be best friends.
I can hardly wait for you to play Rudy in Flesh and Blood. I'm sure he's an excellent player.
Is he going to Vegas?
Yes.
Cool. I'm going to ask him to play.
And he's going to be like me, saying, "All right, will you teach me?"
Yeah. This is a video where I teach you and Rudy how to play Flesh and Blood.
Can we fly and hang out somewhere in the near future and just play?
You can go to Vegas. You can go to Vegas.
I'm not going to Vegas. It's at the worst time. No, I actually have to fly on a work trip on the 13th. I'm not going to Vegas.
I already tried to see Louis once and he bailed on me.
Yeah,
that's true.
Twice, actually.
You know what's funny? He bailed on you because of COVID, but then he's going to Vegas.
Yeah, I know.
Different. It's completely
different.
It's different. I will say Vegas is now Florida.
My wife is now fully vaccinated.
Oh,
that's fair.
Yeah.
Pregnant wife. You forgot that part.
Yes.
I get that.
Here's like the nuts and bolts. Don't buy out unlimited because you're a jackass. The unlimited singles market is pretty darn healthy, frankly. Like I have no problem with any of the prices that are out there right now. TikTok plating went bananas this morning. I don't really care. It's going to come back down. People are going to lose their shirt.
And that's
they deserve it.
About.
Like,
as a singles business, it's not
the only single I don't like the price of is CNC, but I think LSS knows that, frankly. And I like.
And the reason the price is there is because of demand.
Yeah, like I will be stunned.
Please put it in Tails. Please.
If it's not in Tails, I don't care. I think it'll be the next supplemental.
It needs to be in Tails because there's 2 arsenals and it's more needed than ever.
Like I don't.
Have y'all seen stuff for Lexi? She looks good. She looks strong.
Listen, like I don't disagree that it should be in Tails, but if it's not, I'm not worried because I think it'll be the next supplemental set.
When you think they're going to do another supplemental set?
Yeah, I think they said they did. I think they said they are.
It's going to be PvE focused.
Oh God.
Yeah, because I need an arsenal. I need to remove an arsenal slot in a PvE set. That makes sense.
God.
Would you really be that upset if it's a PvE set, George?
If it's a supplemental PvE set, yes.
Why?
Because my players want to beat their opponents, not play with them.
Your players are playing the game wrong.
No, I don't think that's how it works.
Team, will you? Hey, Phil, if you're listening to this podcast, first of all, you're the GOAT. Second of all,
Phil is the
how much you love playing PvE with Steve in the comment section for me, will you? Be like, God, I can hardly wait so that we can all win together. Because I know them.
No, you know what?
And I know they're not competitive players at all.
This is what's going to happen, Louis.
Phil, you know what you want to do? You want to be the bad guy and have 4 players playing against you, and you pilot the deck to beat them, and then you can.
Oh my God! I now know why you want PvE. You just want to build a salt factory.
No, we want George to be the
bad guy. And you're like, how come you guys are all so mean to me? Well,
real talk though. I would love to play PvE with Louis.
Yeah, that'd be a blast.
So would DM Armada and Red Zone Rogue, I bet.
They all would, and then we can have George be the.
I'm sure they'd love it. I'm sure
George can be the boss. Have no idea how to attack anything, but it'll be fine.
DM Armada watches our podcast like 5 days later. DM, let me know in the comment section if you want to play.
Let me know how much you'll love to go 2-on-1 versus Louis. I think it'll be. I think I could. I could see no problems whatsoever. I'm sure it'll be a blast. I'm sure it won't be uncomfortable at all.
Oh my gosh. I'm never going to live that stream down. It's great.
Nope.
That's fine. I'm okay with it.
Can you add in the comment section, Louis, so we can just all relive it together?
Yeah.
Have you gone back and watched it?
No.
No.
So I feel like going back through and rewatching our Monarch stream, our 24-hour Monarch stream.
No, we're not doing that.
You know, I have never been more thankful to know that YouTube cuts it off after 12 hours because after that 12-hour mark, it was brutal.
It was rough.
I still have people saying, oh, I know. We were all just like, I couldn't handle it emotionally. I was about to start crying on your behalf. I'm an emotional man. And I was just sitting there. I was like, I can't handle him.
Are we doing that for Tails?
Are we doing it for Tails?
After this, because I'm leaving on vacay the next day.
All right.
So we can't do it on Tails.
We can
do it on Tails. We just got to do it that night.
Yeah.
So you can barely be awake the next day, George, as you stay up to the midnight with Louis as he's depressed and breaking down mentally.
That's what gives me energy.
It is true.
I will be
As
super
the
ready
stream
for
went on,
vacation after I get done seeing Louis sob into his pillow how James White hates him. He's like, I'll never pull a Fable. James White hates me. I'm like, feed me, feed me, feed me.
My attitude is going to be much different this year.
I hope so.
I'm going to be crushed when you open your first Fable.
All right, I got to buy some boxes from Star City Games because I am probably not going to get enough boxes for me to open much.
Apparently, George will get all of them.
I want to sell boxes to people.
I'm getting wrecked on I'm getting wrecked on Tails right now for distribution. Yeah. My reps are working on it. I got wrecked.
You're going to get too angry. Let's not talk about it.
Angry George, Hulk, come out.
All right. Are we ready for the Metazoo minute?
Yes.
You don't know what it is, do you?
Hold on 1 second. So here's the question. We now have the full box art of Nightfall. This last set, Pokemon did a special weird ETB booster box thing that said you get 2 of these little premium kits that are like basically starter decks and a couple of packs in them, like an Uber ETB meant for 2 players.
Okay.
Right.
Should Metazoo do that?
Yeah.
So basically it's a 2-player starter set.
Yeah, and they do, and you get like a bunch of like these very like you get a like the way I think Metazoo could do it would be 2 decks or like 2 of the release decks and probably 6 packs and call like a try it at home kit.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be like a core set in a way. I mean, not really, but you come with sleeves, you get some tokens in there.
Wait, what do you mean by core set? That means something in Magic.
I know it does. I'm sorry. I'm thinking I have Netrunner core set sitting right next to me. So I'm thinking of like that way I can just dive right into the game. I have everything and you have tokens. So it can come with tokens. It comes with,
Is that not kind of what the release deck was aimed to be?
So here's the problem. Here's like the one problem I have with the release deck. Mike, if you're listening to this, first of all, what up, Mike? Second of all, I love you. Third of all, the release deck had a very valuable promo in it in most decks.
Right.
They ran into the trap that you talked about for the Monarch decks.
Yeah.
I don't love that because it means that people are cracking them to do what just happened.
I'm trying to get my camera to focus because I stepped away and now you can't look at me.
I got Louis' dogs barking. I got you disappearing. This is podcast gold.
Hey, you're doing great.
I feel like I'm doing great. So like, the people were cracking for the promos and selling the promos and then doing nothing with the decks.
Yeah.
I think a starter kit for Metazoo would actually sell very well. It would also be something that's not highly collectible, which I think is actually good for that game right now.
Yeah.
Like everything's just on fire. Like Nightfall pre-orders.
And they're making everything exclusive.
Started. I'm not sure how they got away with this. Like people are selling out at 2 times MSRP. First of all, nobody has their numbers yet.
No.
Nobody's close to their numbers yet.
We don't even know what, like PhD is our distributor now, but like is Golden gonna give us product? I still don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know how these people are pre-selling. I could literally get 10 boxes. I could literally get 1,000 boxes. I have no clue. People are like, can I order from you? No.
Yeah.
I no idea what I'm getting. I think a not hot product would actually serve that game very well right now.
I agree, 100%.
Weirdly, like usually, I'm like, how do we get the heat? But like that game is so on fire, something to cool it down might actually help it.
I agree. I think
a better entry point.
Don't put any special promos in it. Make it as cheap as possible. The MSRP.
Ready for the hot take?
MSRP is $10 and it costs whatever, and it's you get $10 worth of, you get $10
for you. Ready for the hot take? No hollows.
Or how about no hollows? But it comes. You've seen the 2-player starters, right? With Welcome to. I mean, it should just be like that, right? It comes with 2 decks. It even comes with like live counters. It came with like this little how many.
No, don't put that in there because then people are going to want to collect that.
I'm not saying, but like these are just like generic dice. They're not exclusive. There's nothing unique about them.
You can put those in.
Right? Put in some cardboard
counters.
tokens.
We have a million life. I don't think you can do life.
I know. I'm not saying do life counters, but put in tokens, put in decks, and then you get 1 pack for each person. That's it.
No packs.
Yeah, just give them a first edition
Hey,
pack.
the packs are good. Put in 6
Just
packs.
1 pack.
You
Just
put
give them a
pack,
little bit of
it's gonna
crack.
be $1 million.
No, you just give them a little bit of crack and it'll be fine. And you're right. I guess you're right. It will
All right,
be
so here we
$1
do.
million.
All right. Oh my God, I'm so good at this.
But how much is a pack worth right now? Like $10, $12?
$1 trillion.
Yeah.
$12, unless you're buying Kickstarter packs.
That's a lot of money for a pack.
Yeah.
All I'm
$12
saying
for a
is that
pack,
box is going to go from being 20 MSRP now to 40 because there's 2 packs in it. That's all I'm saying.
That is what I said.
That's a way better entry point. $40, even at its like peak, is way better than being what? The issue is if you put a first edition stamp on it, everybody's going to collect it.
Well, like you don't put first edition stamp on it.
Yeah, make it the stamp. Like, don't put first edition.
Like, this
don't
is
put anything on it. It's just different card set. It's
Right.
LSS is big. Like LSS did a very good job.
Yes.
A very
Starter.
good job with the Monarch Blitz decks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
You
they
have
said
a
they're
hollow in
unlimited.
there though.
And like, listen, they're still available at both distributors.
Yep.
Like that, they did a very good. Do that. Like, do that. Like, do that with a 2-player
But
kit.
don't, Mike, if you're listening, do not keep the deck size the same, the box size the same. I like to be able to sleeve my deck
Yes.
and put it into the box that I bought it in. And I love you for making boxes that fit sleeved cards. And
Yes.
James White, if you're listening, make your Blitz decks boxes bigger, please. I love that. That is
I agree.
that is easily my favorite thing about everything in the world.
If
You know
you're
what?
listening to this podcast, I just want to apologize to you.
Louis is so
This
easy
has been
to
a
please.
disastrous podcast, and
No,
that
it
like
hasn't.
that
Listen.
last sentence is like the perfect culmination of it.
I love that. That's like such a satisfying thing to me. Genesis did that too. Like you can see
Yeah.
I love it.
Like the trick is like this is where they get a little bit tough. Is like it costs a lot of money to ship that stuff, and shipping ain't cheap right now.
Nope. It's actually going up again.
Right? Like I
I'm not the
got my
one.
bill for shipping my next container over. It's $18,000 for sea freight. For sea freight,
For
not for
shipping
air freight.
your next container over.
I get a container a month,
Wow.
roughly.
A container a month of what?
Stuff for my business.
Stuffed animals. That's what he wanted to say.
Sketchy.
Stuffed animals. It's a container of
I have
stuffed animals.
like I
You have
love you
games.
guys. If I had to live off my LGS, I would not be able to wear different watches. Every
His
podcast,
Instagram
I
is like
promise you.
RevShare King or something. I don't know. I had
Like-
somebody, by the way, call you Fab King this week. Like,
God.
like
you
that.
know, there's Pokey King.
I like that.
but,
Hey, we should get Pokey. We should get him on the podcast. I think that would be a lot of fun.
I probably have. I'll bet you I have more graded. I bet you I have more 9.5 hearts than anybody else.
guys, we haven't talked about the Metazoo Minute. I picked up my first sample hollow this week.
What did you pick
I
up?
was wondering how much stupid money you spent in that sample auction.
Stupid money. I spent great money in it.
Yeah.
Not stupid
All
whatsoever.
right. What sample did you get?
I got the Quetzal.
Wow, that's
What'd you
awesome.
pay?
Mm.
I actually got 2 samples. I think I paid $1,400 for them combined.
Oh, that's not bad. Oh, it's not
I
hollow.
know.
It's not
No,
hollow.
one on hollow and one hollow.
What was the hollow?
Was
It's
that
the
that wasn't a
Quetzal
sample,
Locust.
was it?
I know it's the same card, but I have to go pick it up from the mailbox
Not
today.
the same card. One of them's a sample. and
It's
one
the
of them's a Kickstarter.
Quetzal Codus. I always call it the Quetz. It's my favorite card.
That's my buddy's favorite card.
Thank you for that incredible intuition, Louis. I appreciate that. That is the content they come here for. Again, I apologize. Louis tried to look like me, but he didn't think that what you guys actually love is the real me.
Oh.
He looks like the cheaper imitation version. That's all I'm gonna say. Not saying he
Whatever.
is or isn't. I'm just saying.
Also, I'm just going to keep ranting. If you go into Tops right now and search Metazoo, it returns lots of different series. Right now, there are at least 2 different series that they're going to have a Series
that's
0 and a
much better
Series
Metazoo
1.
Minute. Cancel this other Metazoo Minute. Add this one to the back. How unbelievably great is it for Metazoo that Topps lost baseball?
Yeah. Everyone was making the
immediately-
opposite point.
I immediately messaged Mike and was like, dude, you got like congratulations.
You hit the lottery.
like you now have like they now need you.
Yeah.
Like they need a new hot IP, and you're it. And you're it.
You mean baseball's not a hot IP right now?
They lost baseball, boo boo.
I know.
That was my point.
Also sucks.
What happened? So Topps just said like, or the baseball association.
Oh
said,
my
no,
god!
we
Have
don't
you
like
not paid? Oh my god! This was like all the rage a couple weeks ago. This is my favorite drama. So Fanatics worked behind the scenes and snaked Topps, just snaked them, and they created a new company that's owned by Fanatics, but the MLBPA and the MLB own a part of it as well as the rumor. So they get a cut of every baseball card sale.
Yeah.
So in 2026, there's no more Topps baseball cards, at least for a very, very long time. They're going to be losing them after 40 years.
Wow.
That's brutal.
And like this is big news. I can tell you guys don't use Southern very much. This is like a Southern is the one that also does.
We're not Wales.
Topps.
Well, like this was very big news for people who can also buy sports cards.
I would say even if I wanted to buy sports cards, guess what? I can't
get them.
No. Nope. I'm not a goat. I don't have any money.
Oh gosh. Please never dance on my channel again.
Your poor wife, dude. Yeah. I sent you guys a Discord picture of both of mine. I got the giant salamander and a Quetzal lotus.
That's cool.
So
congratulations.
I'm very happy. Thanks, dude.
Like
that's all I wanted to hear.
That Topps news for Mike was amazing.
News.
It's weird. I really, 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 really think that. Well, so like I don't understand the whole Topps series thing. I guess what is it? It's just up there and you buy it or whatever.
So that's Topps now. They're doing Topps series.
What is that?
That's a lot. That's a standard product line. So it's not. Yeah, it's not printed. It's not printed demand.
I think that there's such a market for like the Topps Metazoo cards and collectors of like little like younger kids. Like I don't know, like the longevity of the IP because of that is so astonishing to me.
I am terrified of what that Topps card will sell for.
Yeah,
terrified.
They need one that won't sell for $1 million. They need one that won't sell for $1 million and one that will just be for like you can give to your 10-year-old to enjoy it.
Like Louis, like let's say they said I'm going to print 100,000 copies of this card. That wouldn't be enough.
Interesting.
I think at 100,000 it would be. A lot of cards. Everybody would have them. George is going to buy 50K of them and then just leave them for everybody else.
I don't want one.
I need 50,000.
I just need one. I'm okay with having one.
Nope.
Louis, you're going to relive your childhood like opening up Topps Metazoo again.
My amazing childhood of Pokemon Topps cards.
I'm hyped.
Cool.
And that's coming into the year, yeah?
Yep.
All right, so it's going to be a crazy rest of the year. We have Tails coming out.
We have the PvE Flesh and Blood set that comes out in December.
We have Tails, potentially a supplementary set by the end of the year, which I don't even think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it'll happen.
I don't know.
Maybe beginning of next year. But we have Tails, another set coming with Fab maybe by the end of the year, Q4, Q1. We have Metazoo coming out with this set end of October, early November. Then we have second edition coming up. What you think? November, December?
I think that's gonna be too close to Nightfall.
I think they're two different sets though, and they're completely two different things.
Whatever Metazoo produces right now is gonna sell out instantly.
That's kind of my thought too. So
it's gonna be a big year. Yeah, Magic just released 1 billion product lines. Do you guys see that? Mm-hmm. That would have been a good.
They renewed the Netrunner license. Just saying. WotC did.
Wow. All right, this is.
You're not excited. Netrunner's like the goat of games.
This is a great.
It is. It's just like it's a dead game.
It's not though.
Can you buy it?
Yeah, go to niseproject.com.
Oh, so you can't buy Netrunner. You can buy a knockoff of it.
No, I mean you can't buy Netrunner because it's a licensed name. It's trademarked.
Okay. I think this is the end of the podcast, everyone.
So it's dead. Continue.
If you want to engage with us for some reason,
it's arguably the best game.
If there's some reason that you want to engage with us, do so in the comment section or in the Discord server.
Make sure you're really mean to Louis in the comment section so we can start next week talking about whatever nonsense you write in the comment section. Here's my challenge to you all. I want you to write the most outrageous critique you can think of Louis in the comment section to see how much you can get him to justify at the beginning of next podcast.
Oh my gosh.
I want it to be something that like there's nothing he can fix.
George, we need Louis to actually. You realize we don't have a channel to post this if Louis is like miserable and depressed.
Right.
It'd be like, geez, Louis, your facial hair looks weird with your goatee. Burn. Be like, you guys, I'm really sorry. I shaved my goatee this week.
I would never do that. Any man who shaves
that's the
he's
line.
a Napoleon Dynamite. He's like, I was really hot. You know, we just find him in a bathtub, just sitting there with all of no facial hair.
It makes me happy.
Any man who shaves his facial hair for anyone else deserves nobody.
I do it for
all
you.
Right. It's been great seeing you guys again. This has been really good. I feel like
look
really
forward
nailed
to
it.
not seeing you in person.
I feel like we really nailed it this week, you guys.
Hey, everyone.
Great.
May the zoo be with you.
And also with you. And good Lord, I'm sorry.